Hey, what's up guys? Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you so much for everyone who decides to watch my videos every week. I really do appreciate it. I wanted to take a few minutes today just to show you my builds that I'm planning to run in Trials of Osiris this coming weekend, in case maybe it'll help you figure out a couple builds that'll work best for you. So I'm planning to play all three characters, but I'm going to show you my Hunter first because that's the one that I've really spent the most time trying to figure out which builds I'm going to run. So the first build I want to show you here is my Sniping build that I've been working on. So I'm starting off with the Dire Promise, which is one of my favorite hand cannons in Destiny 2. It's turned into a 140 RPM hand cannon instead of 150 now, so it doesn't kill quite as fast, but it's still a really solid gun, and it's one of the best feeling hand cannons in my opinion, especially for the kinetic slot where we don't have a whole lot of good options that are not sunset in terms of legendaries. Now for this particular sniper version of my Trials build, if I don't want to run the Dire Promise, the other primaries that I'm thinking about potentially bringing would be some version of the Friction Fire, which is the new SMG from the Wrathborn hunts. I don't have a particularly great roll on it yet, but I'm going to be farming it throughout the day to see if I can get a better roll. But ideally, you'd want something like Killing Wind and Rampage for your two perks, and then just maximum range. So I think I'm going to keep farming that and see if I can get a better option. It's a really nice feeling SMG if you do happen to get a good roll on it. The other hand cannon that I've been really enjoying, and I could definitely see myself using tomorrow, is the Ace of Spades. If you haven't seen my video on using the Ace of Spades with the new Stasis Hunter, I would definitely recommend checking out that video. I'll link it in the description as well as in the cards that you see on screen here. Ace is one of my favorite hand cannons right now. It does feel really good, but it is exotic, so that means it's going to limit our options a little bit for the rest of the build. I'm also looking at taking in this True Prophecy, which I've been having a lot of fun with. This one has Rangefinder and Rampage and pretty good range overall. It's really fun because if you can manage to get one kill and get that Rampage going, you can 2-tap people within a pretty good range, so that's another option on the table. Now when it comes to the sniper, my favorite one I've been using for the last few days is this new one, Cloud Strike. This is probably my favorite sniper in the entire game right now, for both PvE and PvP. It does insane PvE damage, so it's really helpful for clearing stuff like the raid or any high level activities to get your pinnacles in, but it's also insanely good in PvP. Every time you get a headshot kill, it creates a storm explosion around the target, which is something like a 4.5 meter range, and it deals enough damage to kill anyone else in the nearby radius. I could see this being absolutely huge for Trials because so many teams like to group up a little bit, so if you get one headshot kill, you might be able to either wipe the entire team, or if people are going for a res, you might be able to either get a headshot kill on the person who's rezzing, or the person who just got revived, and then that storm that's generated would wipe out both players. So I think this could be a really strong option and very popular for Trials. If I'm not going to run the Cloud Strike, my other good option here would be the Adored. This is the new seasonal ritual weapon. The PvP setup you want to go with here is probably going to be Killing Wind and Snapshot with an Icarus grip for the mod. I really do like this sniper as well. I haven't put that much time into it because I've been kind of grinding other activities, but it does feel really good, and I think it's a pretty good replacement for the Beloved that can get up to the new power level. So if I choose to go with either Ace of Spades or Cloud Strike for my exotic option, for the heavy slot I'll probably go with this Commemoration machine gun. This one's a really solid feeling machine gun. It's similar to the Hammerhead if any of you guys have used that one, which is probably my favorite machine gun I've used in PvP. I don't have a perfect roll yet. I think what I'd really go for ideally would be maximum range in these three categories, and then the other perks don't matter all that much for a machine gun. I think this one can get dynamic sway reduction, which is really good, and then Rampage, I'm not sure if that actually changes the time to kill or not, but that's always nice to have. One little tip here, if you do a backup mag, it actually does make you pull more ammo from PvP, which is kind of a weird thing, but it does work, so you might want to slot a backup mag if you're going to pull heavy. If my exotic slot is free because I'm using legendaries for both of the first two options, then I'd probably go with the Xenophage, which I think is one of the best options for your heavy slot if you do have that exotic available. It's a 2-shot kill in Trials, and you can also just get that kill with splash damage around corners, which is super helpful for people who are like 3-peeking or just playing a little bit passive. So the other sniper I could potentially see myself using is the Succession, which is the new one from the raid. I really like this sniper so far, and I got a really good roll in it from the raid. This one is Snapshot, Killing Wind, Accurized, Hammerforge, and Handling Masterwork, which is a really strong option. I haven't had that much time to use it yet, but it did feel really nice when I was trying it in PvP. And if I was to use that, I would probably go with either Sunshot as my primary for a hand cannon, or potentially the Iclos SMG. I really like this Iclos SMG in particular. This one has Tap the Trigger, Dynamic Sway Reduction, Hammerforge, and a Range Masterwork, so it has really nice range. The one thing it's missing is that range in this column, but it's not that big of a deal. Overall, this is a really nice feeling SMG, and it's a good option if you're going to pair it with a sniper. Okay, so next up, let's talk about the armor I'm going to use if I'm sniping. For my helmet, I have the sniper targeting mod, hand cannon targeting from the seasonal artifact, and radiant light. The reason I use this one is it gives you that plus 20 strength stat, but you do have to have another arc mod somewhere in your build to activate it, and I'll show you how that works in a second. For my gloves, I have recovery mod, fastball, and a hand cannon loader mod. For my exotic slot, I'm using the Dragon Shadow. This is one of my favorite exotics for Hunter. If you haven't seen my recent video on Ace of Spades, I do recommend checking that out because I explain how Dragon Shadow works. It's really awesome. As far as the mods, I'm using recovery mod, unflinching sniper aim, and unflinching hand cannon aim. For my boots, I'm running a mobility mod, sniper rifle scavenger, and powerful friends. This one is actually the one that activates that other radiant light mod because they're both arc energy, so they actually activate each other. And then this one gives you plus 20 mobility, so you can see that both of these stats actually are really high. I have a lot of strength here and then a lot of mobility here, and that's because of those two additional mods. For my cloak, I'm using mobility mod, double bomber, and taking charge. So this is kind of interesting. I have taking charge in my build to become charged with light, but since I don't actually have anything that consumes the charge with light buff, it's not really helping me out that much. The reason I'm running it is mostly for my teammates. They might be running stuff like high energy fire, which gives them additional damage whenever they become charged with light. And then I have things like radiant light, where every time I pop my super, they become charged with light. Same with powerful friends. Anytime I become charged with light, they also become charged with light. So they may be able to take advantage of some of these different builds. And if sniper rifle mods like the unflinching sniper aim and sniper rifle targeting weren't so expensive, I would probably work them into this build as well. But I'm just not sure how strong it is when I'm sniping, and typically I'm able to get a one-shot kill headshot anyway. But in the next part of my build where I use the shotgunning setup, I'm definitely using that charge with light much more. The other option that you can throw in here, which is really strong, is that new Mask of Bakris. This one allows you to do that shift teleport instead of a dodge, which is really nice, but it does come with a few downsides. You can't dodge nearly as frequently since there's a longer cooldown, and it also doesn't activate things like the Gambler's Dodge or Marksman Dodge reload, so you're really trading a lot off to have that improved dodge. When it comes to my stasis setup, I'm running the Gambler's Dodge to have that better animation, and also get my melee back whenever I dodge. Strafe Jump for the improved mobility while I'm in the air. For my grenade, I'm using the Duskfield grenades now. I think these might be a little bit better than the Cold Snap grenade ever since those got nerfed, especially with the Whisper of Durance, where you get that additional slow timer. For my aspect, I have the Shatter Dive, which allows you to do that dive to shatter any frozen enemies and also be pretty evasive. And the other one is the Winter Shroud, which allows you to slow enemies while you're dodging. This one's really powerful because you can combine it with your Withering Blade to dodge first to slow and then hit them with the Withering Blade, and it will instantly freeze them. For my fragments, you have a couple good options here. One of the best ones is the Hedron's one. This one gives you that extra damage buff whenever you freeze a target. It's about 25% and it's really strong. I also really like the Whisper of Durance, which makes your slow abilities last longer. This one's especially good with the new Hunter slow on dodge aspect. And sometimes instead of the Hedron's one, it might actually work better to go over to the Refraction. For this one, whenever you defeat slowed or frozen targets, you get your class ability back faster, which means that you can dodge again faster and potentially freeze another target. Okay, so now let's talk about our shotgunning setup. We're probably going to be using the Ace of Spades, which I think is potentially the best hand cannon in the entire game right now, along with the Felwinter's Lie, which is arguably the best shotgun in the game. This one has full choke, accurize, quick draw, opening shot, and a range masterwork. It really hits for some deep one-hit kills, and I think it's one of the absolute best options you can possibly pick for shotgunning. If you don't have a Felwinter's, the other one I would highly recommend would be the 7th Seraph Shotty. The role I have here is full choke, assault mag, quick draw, vorpal weapon, and a handling masterwork. Vorpal weapon is really cool here because it allows you to 2-tap some supers, but overall, if you have access to Felwinter's, I think it's a much better shotgun. If we're playing a really rangy map and I feel like Ace of Spades maybe doesn't have the range I need and I still want a shotgun, I'll probably switch over to either the True Prophecy that I mentioned earlier, or I also have this Criminal's Dagger that's actually almost like a sniper rifle. This thing has rangefinder and opening shot as well as a range masterwork, and it really hits from downtown. I think it's about 52 meters before it experiences damage drop off for that first bullet, which is actually crazy. It's really fun. The other option if I don't want to go hand cannon would be to go with the No Time to Explain, which I think is one of the best pulse rifles in the game right now. It has some insane range, and I also did get the Catalyst, which makes that little portal shoot faster. So this is a really strong option, especially for those really long range maps. As far as my armor goes, it's going to be really similar to that sniping setup I showed you, but this time we're able to work that high energy fire into the build so we can get a little bit of a damage buff anytime we become charged with light. So for our helmet, The big change here is that we're moving over to a shotgun targeting mod instead of a sniper. That saves us a little bit of energy and allows us to go with a discipline mod to get our grenade back a little bit faster. Our gloves are staying the same for this build, and for our chest piece, we're still going to be using the Dragon Shadow, but this time we're running with double unflinching hand cannon aim, both from the seasonal artifacts, so they only cost 1 energy each, and that's going to allow us to use this high energy fire mod to get that additional damage anytime we become charged with light. For our boots, we're switching over to a shotgun scavenger mod instead of sniper rifle, but otherwise these are staying the same, and our class item will also stay the same. So I hope you found this video helpful. Let me know in the comments what kind of builds are you planning to run for Trials this weekend if you're planning to play. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm super excited to see all the different builds that come out with Stasis, and just generally I'm hoping to have a really fun time with some friends. I am planning to stream Trials on Friday night. If you'd like to come hang out with us, my Twitch is twitch.tv/pattycakespc. I'd love to see you over there in chat. And if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel yet, please be sure to hit the sub button and also turn on notifications so you don't miss my next video. That's all for now. Catch you guys next time.